what you all been waiting for.
What's up? Welcome to Way Up with Angela Yee. And y'all know it's September. That's always like the reset time of the year. You know, after Labor Day, that's when things change, schedules change, traffic changes. And even if you don't have kids, there is also a cultural shift. Summer's over. We all feel like it's time to get back to business. Not like I ever stopped.
No.
And not like Coach Gessie's ever stopped. But Coach Gessie Thompson's joining us today.
Hey.
And you guys definitely know her voice by now. She's a fibroid survivor, in case you don't know, a health activist, and also the founder of The Detox Now. And she's helping women reclaim their health.
Yes, ma'am. So listen, first of all, I just wanted to love on you a little bit first because you know, I was stalking you. This is the first time I'm seeing you since you went to the doctor. Mm-hmm. And I was stalking you in text, like, come on, when you go, because I was just feeling like, you take time caring about everybody else, but Angela, it's important to take time to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And your schedule is always so busy. I said, and I kept feeling like, I asked you, what's your D3 level? Oh, I don't know. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And as I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't want something to sneak up on you and then you end up in an emergency, right? Mm-hmm. So kudos to you. Yes, finally went to the doctor.
Finally went and made my appointment. And I kept knowing I had to do it. I still have to schedule my mammogram.
Okay.
Because I haven't done that yet, but I do have where I'm going. So
Excellent.
I'm figuring that out ASAP. But yes, and when I went, Coach Gessie, you gave me a whole list of things to ask for, to check on, a whole checklist. I actually also, since we always talk about fibroids, I was like, let me check and see if I have any fibroids. Mm-hmm. So I went and had an ultrasound for them to check that out. And it's crazy because a long time ago, I went to the doctor and she pressed on my stomach and was like, okay, it doesn't feel like if you do have some, it's not too bad. That's the whole way.
That was it.
Yeah.
Pelvic
not
exam.
too bad.
Yeah, she said even if you do have some, she was like, they're really small.
Palpable.
So then I got my results back a couple of days later. I told you my glucose level is high, so we have to work on that.
That's right.
But I did find out that I have 2 fibroids. And they are small. One of them is less than a centimeter.
Tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny, but it also is something I'm monitoring. So I go back in November to check and see what's happening.
Right. And in the meantime, before we go to, how did you feel learning that with all the work that we do and the education you've received around that? What did that feel like for you?
Well, I will say that because so many Black women end up having fibroids, I felt like I would be dodging a bullet if I never... because I never checked. Like I told you, the doctor before was like, well, if you have some, they're really small. And I know that there's periods of time when I'm menstruating where I might have the second day is always the worst day for me. And, sometimes I have blood clots and everything. So I figure it's something.
Something's
because
going
I know we always talk about how that's not normal.
Right.
And so it's good to know and it's good to monitor that.
Right. So, the thing about it is we know that that's an indicator. That also can be what also drives hormonal imbalance, can drive your glucose going up as well, right? So one of the things that we try to do is be proactive so that we catch it when it's a process and not a crisis. And that's why I felt like I was stalking you, because I was like, I don't want to end up in a crisis.
Right.
So I am so proud of you. And now, of course, the thing is, we know that the Balancer Kit in our program, our Balancer Kit specifically targets the root causes like chronic inflammation, helps reduce the inflammation, which is a key driver. Balance the hormones with Balancer, right? And then the D3 plus K2 helps to, of course, help you achieve high, healthy levels of D3. We want them around 80 to 90. And then, of course, the Eliminator, which is strong as hell.
And my D3 was low too.
See, exactly. We knew. But if the D3, it's the science has shown, if your D3 is low, fibroids are usually present, right? And the lower it is, usually the more symptomatic. So the good thing is we have a plan. We're going to be starting your plan,
yes,
right?
I know.
And we're going to be telling your story.
So exciting. But I am relieved, going to the doctor and finding out if there's any issues and finding out early is really important instead of waiting till it's a problem.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm excited. But everything that we do, you talked about the new year, being the shifts, right? And everything we do it's not just the supplements, the nutrition planning. We have to deal with mental health issues. And when I stumbled across the work of our guest today, I was like, first of all, my husband, shout out to Mark Thompson, he was crushing. I said, dude, is this your hall pass? What's going on? He was like, this woman's amazing. And I started to listen to her stuff. I said, wow. So here we are today, joined by I'm saying powerful, yes. RaQuel Davis, known as the capacity expert, right? Yeah? Oh, I'm sorry, RaQuel Davis Hopkins. Don't let me drop off the married name. I'm
Hopkins.
so sorry.
Don't play because
don't say Davis. How do you say it?
Hopkins.
You don't say Davis Hopkins.
No, that's my maiden name.
Okay, so RaQuel Hopkins. I ain't gonna get her in trouble. All right. All right.
Get you in trouble.
That's right, exactly. Get me in trouble. So she's the founder of Success is Complicated, and she helps people build their emotional capacity, teaching us how to set boundaries, protect our energy, and actually sustain the resets that we're working to do. So I'm excited to have her join us.
Thank you for having me. I think I need to go to the doctor.
Oh, that's what this is.
Yeah, that's what I was listening. I think I know. I need
Let's
to go
do
to the
it.
doctor.
Listen, those checkups, because when I tell you, when nothing's wrong, you're like, I'll do it when I get to it. But I was like, let me go ahead and find out now, because the last time that I had a bad issue was when I found out my cholesterol was high, and there was nothing wrong. It was just a checkup.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that I caught it when I did, because, it's really important to know what's going on inside, because sometimes things don't have any symptoms until it's too
Bad.
late.
So it's too late.
Yeah. So
We'll be talking.
I was just thinking. I was like, I'll
I got
just
you,
reach
girl.
back out so you can tell me what I need to go.
We got
check
you, girl.
for.
now talk to me about, what is a capacity expert? Because you are the capacity expert. So for people listening, what does that even mean?
So I made it up. I did.
She coined her own term.
I coined it. And capacity is, most of us, when we think about capacity, right, we're thinking about bandwidth, volume, how much we can actually hold and carry. But it's not. Capacity it's rooted in adult development, but it's more so about what can you produce consistently. And when I say produce, I'm not talking about activity or your success. I'm talking about, if you're carrying fear, do you produce courage? If you're carrying the weight of responsibility like we all do, can you produce growth? If you're carrying conflict, can you produce connection?
Yeah.
So capacity is like filling that gap or expanding that gap when life is pressing on us and we have all of these demands. And I coined that, well, I didn't coin it because we all know the word capacity, just educating us around what it meant. And it came from just how we've overcorrected in terms of how we talk about mental health. So one of the things that I've observed is many people are defaulting to avoidance behavior.
Right. Like, I have anxiety, so I can't come out.
Yes. I have this, I have that, and I can't do this. And that's actually what has gotten your attention, because a few of those videos, they ended up going viral because I said 3 toxic mental health trends that I'm now seeing. And I talked about exactly what you're saying, how we're using labels as excuses, and here we are.
Right.
Can
you give us those examples?
Yes.
Like, I have ADHD. So I just give me some examples of what that means when you're saying, like, okay, we're kind of leaning on. Because, I think people are very quick to mental health, I feel like, is something that is a lot more accessible and talked about.
Which is great.
Yep. But then on the flip side of that.
So let's talk about mental health really quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's going first.
Because I think that's important to understand what it is and what it is not. I think we have destigmatized the wrong thing. Mental health is something that we all have. So you shouldn't have shame. It's like saying you should have shame because you have an arm or we have legs. We all have mental health. We don't all live with a mental illness, right?
Okay.
And there may be shame around mental illness, but the shame is around struggle. Shame is usually around seeking support, getting help, which is why it's great that we'll have conversations about the things that will impact our mental health. So to your point, Angela Yee, when we talk about anxiety or ADHD, you do hear people using it as excuses today. It's like the caveat. So, Angela, when I walk in here, let me let you know that I have anxiety. And that means that maybe you should adjust or tiptoe around me in terms of how you run your show.
Triggers.
Right?
That's a real big one. I have triggers.
That's another one. But the label is for understanding. It is an explanation. And most people are starting to use it as an excuse.
Yeah. Because I've definitely had to deal with people who are like, well, I just didn't show up because I have anxiety. I'm not doing anything where I'm going to get triggered. Wow. And it's like, but on the flip side of that, how are you supposed to handle that?
The person that's actually living with
the
it.
person who is saying, I have anxiety. What is the better?
The first thing I would say is, it's not that you have it, right? You don't want to identify with it. It's I live with it, which means that it separates you as the individual from the label that we now have.
Not identifying you as in defining you, right?
Right. And then the second thing would be is, it's being intentional about when and how you share it. If I'm sharing it with you because I truly need a reasonable accommodation or something is beyond my scope, I would share it in that sense. But again, it's still for me to learn how to navigate. And that doesn't mean that you have to go at it alone. But maybe if I live with ADHD, maybe I'm more organized. I create systems. I take notes when I go into meetings because I have a difficult time focusing, whatever your symptoms may be. And that is the reason for knowing or getting a diagnosis to say, okay, I live with this. And because I live with this, that means that I'm going to have to navigate the world and life in this manner. It doesn't mean that the world is supposed to tiptoe around you because you have it. And that can sound unkind. And I think that as people, we should be kind to people. Of course. Like compassion, all of those things matter. But it still doesn't matter that you have to deal with the weight of your own life. And part of living with the weight of your life is understanding what your circumstances are.
So part of it is, okay, you are missing an opportunity to grow through that, to be present. Like, what does it look like for you to be present, even though you're living with anxiety and you need to navigate it? And you're saying that, from what I'm hearing you say, is that what the mental health world right now has really kind of, the messaging has been, well, you just stay away. Like, just pull away, avoidance instead.
You can't grow like that. I always tell people, when you think about it, the very basics, what is mental health? Mental health is how you think, feel, and behave. And if you start to protect how you think, feel, and behave, you can't evolve like that. Like, life is about evolution. So I always tell people that, it's even being mindful of the language that you use when we say I'm protecting my mental health.
Right. Just
know that what you're saying is, in this current state, which is okay depending on the season, I'm protecting how I currently think, feel, and behave today.
Okay. I like that.
I like that shift.
And, the other thing is, and I saw you discussing this as well, right? We can talk about, like, okay, we're supposed to get 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night. But people's circumstances sometimes don't allow for that, depending on what you have going on. And that we also have to understand everybody's different. Right. Yeah. And so while we can say, well, this is how I'm going to be at my optimum, sometimes my circumstances aren't going to allow for me to be able to do that.
I always say that there are no perfect solutions in life, only trade-offs.
Yeah.
And part of understanding that life is going to offer you these trade-offs is understanding it's radical responsibility. What am I choosing in this moment? Because I'm sleepy right now, right? Like, I'm sleepy right now, but was I going to miss the opportunity to come way up? No, but I'm sleepy.
Right. She might have low D3.
I need to go get it checked, though.
Yeah, you might.
But I'll be able to rest tomorrow. I'll rest, because it still doesn't change. That's why I say people confuse the truth with complexity, right? Like, life is growing at a very rapid pace for me right now. New demands that I haven't been approaching. That means that there are going to be some restless nights sometimes. Now, does that mean that I can sustain like that over time? No, you can't, because rest is important. And that's the truth. Like, rest is important. The complexity is your life is changing at a very rapid pace. And that means that you're going to have to find your balance.
Right. And that's how I think, becoming successful is knowing that there are times that there are trade-offs that you'll have to do, but then sometimes you have to prioritize other things and know when you're like, okay, because I've been better at communicating. I always try to make it to everything and do everything that I can, but sometimes I just have to, what works for me is the earlier I can let somebody know this is impossible, the better.
Yeah.
So if I can early on let somebody know I said I could do this, but honestly, here's what's really going on with me right now. I apologize, and
that helps combat.
I know
that's few and far between with her, because she really works. If she tells you she's going to do something,
I try to be very
really
reliable.
Works to be reliable.
Yeah.
So if she comes, and that's the thing, when you've established that groundwork, then people are like, oh, if she did, then that means that I know she really couldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting because I have a business, right, and it's interesting to see how people nowadays, like the younger generation, will be like, I need a mental health day, but they may not tell you in advance. I'm all for a mental health day, but not like
unleash her right now.
but not like when you're already supposed to be there.
Yeah. Come on, RaQuel, tell the people. Them.
This is the one time that I might be on the people's side, only because some days you do wake up where you really feel like you can't do it.
How often though?
Well, that's another situation, right? So when you talk about like when you use Angela's example. Her character is there. People know what to expect from her, and I think that people don't. We misrepresent what reputation is and how it matters. So if you tell someone that you can't make it, the trust is there,
right?
And the trust is there because you trust yourself, and then other people trust you. So with other people, I don't know. It's contingent,
right?
It's contingent. It's contingent.
But then the thing where they're just like, I just need a mental health day, and it's like
not
a regular
just the younger generation either, though. It's not, because I'm still in the HR space, and it's anybody. Like if I can use an excuse to get out of doing something hard, then mental health. And
it's become I love that you brought that up because, you know, you have been transparent about the fact that since January, this train you've been on has just been speedy, right? In terms of the viral growth, right? And how that has taken a lot of navigating for you, you know. So I wanted you to talk about like 3 practices, like how that stretched you, like how did that stretch you, and share 3 practices and new habits that we can focus on implementing in our lives that help us to expand our capacity.
I'll use my personals because you're right. Most people think you're not born with like capacity. It's something that you have to develop over time. And as I continue to navigate this new space, what you're going to find is you're going to have people that agree with you, that disagree with you, people that don't like what you're what you're saying. This past weekend, I was actually a part of an event, and I was really excited to be there. But people misunderstood what I was communicating, and in the misunderstanding of what I was communicating, how they were responding back almost came across as an attack. So I sat there because I didn't want to run from it, right? If you're going to continue to be in this space, you need to be able to hear the hard things that are going to be said about what you're saying. That's part of me owning the stuff that I'm saying. But I did go back to my hotel room and I burst into tears. And when you talk about what are some practices, so much of developing your capacity is about being able to experience a wide range of emotions. Now, I could have walked away and been like, they don't know me.
Defensive.
Yeah, defensive. They
I'm
don't
never
really
going
know
to that
me.
again.
I'm never going to. Right. You know, throw shade or whatever. Right, but I was
I don't need that little conference, no way.
To the question of who am I? Who do I want to be? And I honored the sadness. Like, I felt the sense of sadness. I was so happy to be in that space. I was so passionate about who I was talking to and what I was communicating that it made sense that I would experience sadness with that being part of the outcome, because it wasn't the whole outcome, but part of the outcome. And once I allowed myself to move through that, I was okay. And I always tell people that you have to be able to hold pain and joy. Like those things can coexist. And when we talk about mental health today, I always say it that so many people want to feel good. And part of this whole experience in life is more so about becoming better, not necessarily feeling good. You're not going to feel good all the time. And so that's the first thing, right?
So feel the emotions.
Yeah, allow yourself, you have to acknowledge it so that you can grow through it. And part of growing through it is you're doubling down on self-trust. So I know that when I have the next encounter, because I don't think I'm not going to have those moments again, right? I can experience that sense of sadness. Maybe I can sit in a room and listen to critique. Maybe the next time I can go up to the person and say, hey, I think that you misunderstood what I was saying. So it changes it when you learn that you can actually navigate what we refer to as these negative emotions.
You said integrate grief, don't deny it. I saw that was one of the quotes.
Yeah, you have to integrate all of these experiences. What most of us end up doing is, I say we cope or we're managing something. And when we're managing something, we're trying to be in control. So if I use myself as an example, right, I could have decided to be in control of the moment. I don't want to be in control of the moment. But I also knew that if I allowed that, I wasn't going to collapse either.
I want to know what happened.
I'm gonna tell you when we get off.
I'm dying to know what was misunderstood, but okay.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and I understand why it was misunderstood, because I am challenging things that people have protected. People protect their
finding
pain,
comfort in,
right?
They're finding comfort in.
Yeah, we find comfort in our pain. We find pride in our pain. And what I'm doing is calling those things out. Yeah. And what people hear is that you're erasing parts of them that they are comfortable with doing,
yes, right?
Yes. So I'm not upset. I'm not upset, because I do believe that moment was for me. It was exactly what I needed.
Right. So what does that mean now moving forward? I understand what you're saying, that you were able to go to your room, you can receive that.
It depends, because anger is an emotion either. It is an emotion too. It depends. Next time I might curse you out. Because when I say, like, you have to be able to experience a wide range of emotions, I don't want to protect those things. I am human. That means that hopefully you
That's
get
how breakdown
the version.
happens, right?
Yeah,
if I'm trying to suppress it.
Right. Hopefully you get the version of me that I'm proud of all the time. But I can't guarantee you that, okay? I can't.
They must have came with it. So allow yourself to feel the emotions. That's number one. You got two more.
Yep. So with the feeling, right? Make sure when you're allowing yourself to feel it, ask yourself, is this something that I need to acknowledge the emotion? So the step is to acknowledge it. But is it something that I need to feel, learn, or is it something that I need to learn from?
So explain
or act on.
Explain that.
So you take sadness, for example. It's a Black woman, right? Oftentimes, like, I ain't gonna walk away and you done made me feel weak, right? You need to learn from that, because that means that you're pushing sadness away. It's not something that you want to experience, because you've associated sadness with weakness. Right? So for me, that in this season that I'm in, it's important that I allow myself to experience sadness, because I'm learning from the sadness.
That's a very important thing. Sadness doesn't make you weak.
You can actually have a lot of strength in sadness.
A lot of times we won't allow ourselves to feel the sadness because of that, and then we flip it as anger, right? And then it causes more danger.
We usually act on it, right?
It causes more damage is the word I was looking for.
Right. So that would be the first one. It's the emotions. And then the other one is, I always talk about mental capacity. And mental capacity is, I try to help people make the distinction between your identity versus the label. So even when and this is part of what I shared that day, being Black is a label. It gives context, it's understanding. It's no different from you live with ADHD. I say I am Black, but I navigate the world as a Black person. However, that still doesn't mean that the world is going to tiptoe around me, right? But you still need to be able to hold space.
They're definitely not, by the way.
They're not, right?
No.
We see that.
You can still have pride in that, right? It's no different from a person that lives with ADHD. They refer to some of the things that they can do as a superpower, right? So you can hold that as a sense of pride, but when it becomes the thing that you're always leading with, that's what you're filtering life through.
Okay.
And that's what I tell people, versus because when I talk about capacity, what do you produce consistently? Is it integrity? Is it humility? Is it compassion? Is it kindness? I'm talking about the impact that you end up having on
you as a person.
Exactly. Exactly. And when we have mental capacity, we make decisions that are rooted in clarity. It's grounded. Your resilience shows up.
This is interesting. And you also have a capacity workbook. Can we talk about that too?
Yes. So my capacity workbook is great, But I created it. But I created it because so much has evolved since February. It was people were like, "What is this girl talking about when she say capacity?" So I was like, I have to create something,
right?
But it's continuing to evolve. So I'm working on a full framework to support people in developing their capacity. But the capacity workbook addresses it. Takes you through the steps of identifying emotions, those 6 basic emotions. Life is complicated enough. We don't need all these different words and language. We have enough language. So
we're not even mastering the 6.
Right. Can't even get sadness right. So it walks you through that. And then there's also a framework for mental capacity. And I refer to it as the survival loop versus the capacity loop. And you have that both for the emotional and the mental component. And it's a digital product. You can take it wherever you are and always have it at your leisure. And I use it. I used it this past weekend, like mental in my head.
You like I had to
yourself.
Yeah,
I like this different approach than where I think conditioned as of late.
It's so important, Angela, because so much of what we're being taught is that if it's hard, it's that. I
have boundaries.
I'm not dealing with it. But the truth is, wait a minute, is it hard because I need to be stronger?
It never will not be hard.
Yeah.
And so the truth is, there's going to be so many things that we have to experience and go through that there's no way that you cannot figure out the way that you can, the capacity of letting your capacity grow and learning how to.
Or you're skirting life like this all the time.
Yeah, and I think the thing that we miss when we're having these mental health conversations is like, as a licensed professional counselor, I know that people are going to struggle with their mental health. I expect you to. And if I expect you to, that means that you're going to have these transitory, or you're going to be navigating these micro or these macros, similar to what you were saying. When you started your show, you were like, okay, I need to live closer as I figure out how this is going to work.
Right.
That's capacity.
I was proactive in making sure that I wasn't going to put too much on myself.
Exactly. Yeah. That is capacity, because you were going through a transition. You were going through a change. Had you not had the capacity, you probably would have made the weight much heavier than what it already was, because what you were carrying by producing your own show, going out here on your own, that's weight. How you end up carrying it determines what you produce.
Right. And in a proactive way, I knew that I was like, okay, I'm going to have a lot more to do because it's me curating all of this.
Yep.
There'll be a lot of changes. There'll be a lot of going back and forth to work. I was like, instead of giving myself the added burden of the traffic and coming back and forth, and I was like, I need to be in walking distance from my job so I can just at least not have that.
That was supporting your capacity growth.
Capacity is a part of wisdom, though. Like,
I agree. That's what I'm saying. What do you say about people who may feel like, well, you're not, like, the difference between saying, well, I have trauma, I'm dealing with trauma, so because of that, I'm using that as a covering, versus using trauma as something I have to grow through?
Ask me that one more time.
Okay. So some people may see they use trauma as a
crutch.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. And I've heard you talk about that.
So what goes missed in these conversations around trauma to me is trauma is subjective. That's why we always say that you and I can grow up in the same household and the way we end up experiencing the world may be completely different. And I think that if we don't want to create shame around it, but helping people understand that trauma is subjective, which means that before you label it, you get to decide how it has impacted you. So if I'm working with you and you come in and you say, I lost my mom yesterday, right? Before I decide that, oh my gosh, that is a terrible thing that has happened, I need to give you the opportunity to let me know how you are responding to that situation. Because you could say, well, I've been a really great daughter. While I am grieving, because that's part of being a human, I don't feel like I'm going to collapse. I know that this is going to be hard to navigate this, but life well lived. Mom and I had a great relationship. I feel good about it.
Right.
If I put that label on you, I've turned it into something that
it's really my issue, not yours.
Yes. And I think that when we hear bad situations, we default to, oh, that must have been traumatic for a person, before giving them the chance to see like how they're actually responding to it.
So it's like we actually create more trauma on them because we're not giving them an opportunity. We're not.
I try to say
them.
like, my condolences. Is there anything you need?
Yes, that's checking in with the person.
Yeah,
You know, because I've learned
versus
that,
assuming, it's making a. You know what they say when you make assumptions.
Yes.
Right, yes.
It's like, oh my God, your life must be destroyed right now.
Yeah, no, what I have learned, because also some people are really not, like, it's hard to figure out how to respond to somebody
That's
when they
true.
say that.
Yeah.
And so I've learned the best thing to do is say, do you need anything? Or if you need anything, I'm here. Like, let me know how I can help.
Or how can I support you?
Instead of that, that must be really bad. That must be really hard on you.
But I understand that people may not. Yeah, so that's why this is a conversation, because people may have the best intentions,
Right.
but
It's equipping people to have a capacity on how to help people who are suffering.
This is a high level capacity conversation right here.
Well, one of the things that we know is with stressors, you know, there's also the responsibility to take care of our bodies, right? So, you know, we talked about like D3 there, like things that we need to know to equip ourselves in our bodies.
Right.
And like, even like we're coming up on our October reset, because we do resets every quarter. And one of the things we tell people is don't make it just fasting. Like, do it with emotional work. So I would love for people who are going to do the reset with us in October to get RaQuel Hopkins's capacity workbook to take time to actually work on your emotional issues, right? Capacity to help you grow so that you get the full benefit of the reset, because your body resets, but your mind and your heart need to reset too, in a way that you're in a better position to grow and better position to handle life. I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, it's because it's not getting any easier, guys.
No, say it one more time.
Say that
It's
one
not
more
getting any
time.
easier.
That way I don't have to say it this time. You say it.
Listen, I like this type of work, though. You know,
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
like this. I think this is, you know, something that is very useful in our day-to-day, like just to kind of help us learn how to grow through adversity.
I tell people today that coping is not enough. You have to actually develop people. And part of developing people is really starting to tap into what does capacity look like for you and what are you wanting to produce. Like, coping worked a long time ago when life wasn't as complex as it is, and it's not going to change. It's just going to get
I love what you said when it's like, but what does capacity look like? That capacity means you know you've built capacity when it's not causing you to crumble. Going through the hard thing, you don't crumble from it. You actually grow through it.
That's why I like to be solution oriented.
Yeah.
I always say that there's always going to be problems. It's kind of like it's kind of like being in a relationship. You know, there's going to be arguments and things you don't agree on.
Yep.
But then what are the ways that you handle those arguments so that it can become more productive?
Yep.
You know,
meaningful
and growing
connections,
together.
Meaningful relationships. Yeah, no, we could all just be capacity experts.
No, listen.
This conversation was easy.
But sometimes I do want to just say, I don't have the bandwidth for that right now.
And I think that's okay.
Sometimes that happens.
I think that's okay, because I think that's part of you acknowledging that you're human.
Yes.
Like, I say sometimes I don't have the capacity, right?
I'd be like, can we talk about this
Put
tomorrow?
a pin here.
Yeah.
I don't think anything is wrong with that. And I think that is you experiencing a wide
honesty.
range of what it means to be human. Like,
No, I think that's fully honest, because you have to know when in the moment you may not be able to show up as your best self right now.
Yep.
I may not be, you know, like my sister was sharing something. I was like, you know what, the way I'm feeling, I'm really not hearing anything you're saying, because all I'm focusing on right now is getting myself together emotionally and physically.
and
right?
I don't think anything is wrong with
Nothing.
that.
But
I don't think
the
anything is wrong
honesty,
with that.
but she knows I will show up, and I'll circle back with her on it. That's part of that too.
Gotta love it. All right, so where can people find you, RaQuel?
I am RaQuel, the capacity expert on Instagram. That's it.
And it's dashes in between.
Yes, dashes.
Don't forget to tell them about them dashes.
I don't know where the dash
It's RaQuel dash. Hold on.
RaQuel underscore the
Underscore, I meant, not dash.
capacity. It's long.
Yeah. Listen, just look up the capacity expert. You're the only one I know that's a capacity expert. So
Yeah, it's
so
RaQuel _the_capacity_expert.
Yep, that's it.
A lot of underscores.
Yeah.
But the capacity workbuk is at the link in your bio, right?
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
All right,
And y'all doing the reset with us October 5th through the 11th. Get her workbook, please.
All right, I think that's a good time for me too, because I think I'm here in town. So
There you go.
let's get it together.
Get it
Okay, I
together.
can do that.
See?
Y'all gonna have to tell
Look
me
what you're
about
doing.
this reset.
You're going to join us. 'Cause
Okay.
we'll have you join us on a Zoom so you could talk to the people about it.
Okay, okay.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard that.
All right, it's way up.
If your capacity is there for it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for doing this.